Today, we are going to explore how to set up the serial ports on your SCADADroid. Serial ports are used for several reasons. 1. Many legacy control systems only have serial port interfaces. Serial ports were widely available in the 80s and 90s, and some of the equipment is still in use. 2. RS485 serial ports can go over 4,000 feet, and therefore, devices can communicate at a further distance and on a cheaper cable than using either fiber optics or Ethernet with repeats to get the distance, albeit at a slower rate. And 3. Serial ports are much cheaper to develop and less complicated from a manufacturing perspective. Because of this, many manufacturers use them for digital communications. To set up the serial ports for your SCADADroid R2A+, start by going to the System tab and then clicking on the Settings button. After giving the program a minute to load the page, scroll down about 2/3 until you see the Serial Interface section. Click on the Add Serial Port button here. There are 3 types in this column that you can choose from. The RS422 option is a 4-wire version. For this demonstration, we will use the RS485 option. The baud rates can go up to 115,200 kilobauds, but we'll set the maximum to 9,600 kilobauds. Being Modbus R2U, we'll stick to the default options for the next 5 columns. Note that it is multiplexed, so you can have one serial port being ID 0 at 9600. You could also have another serial port set up for RS485 at 115,200, or you could do another one at RS232 with a different baud rate. This is easy to do, but when you do this, it will multiplex, meaning that it will do the first one and the second one and then go back. You will want to be aware of this for time. For this example, we will just use one serial port. Once the serial port is set up, click on the Modbus tab. Here we will set up a polling record. In the Modbus Client section, click on the Add Modbus Slave button and add another Modbus client. In the Protocol column, there are 3 options: Modbus TCP and UDP for Ethernet, in which you would put the IP address in, and the third option is Modbus R2U. For this demonstration, we'll pick the Holding Registers option in the Register column. For the data type, we'll use the unsigned 16-bit option, but if we use the float 32-bit option, we could switch the bytes and words to fit the format using these 4 options here. For the next 2 columns, we'll type in 1 and 10 registers like this. To see if it is polling, click on this button here. A dialog box will appear, and you can see the values for the 10 registers here. Also, you can see that the system is up and the communications are working well. From the 10 registers here, you can go straight to making alarms by clicking on the Alarms tab. Scroll down until you see Modbus Alarms. For the Modbus ID column, we'll select the only option available, which is the ID 0. For the Register section, type in 14. If you are polling a holding register and you want to select the bit, you can choose one of the options in the drop-down. In the Target column, you can pick which option the alarm changes are based on. In some applications, the alarm level changes, so with a fixed option, you can dynamically change the alarm level based on what the condition is, and this would be changed from the PLC that the SCADADroid is communicating to. Also, you can use these as tags by clicking on the Tags tab over here. Click on the Add New Tag button in the bottom left corner. For this demonstration, we'll call the tag Pressure. We'll also write in PSI for the Units column. We'll leave this section as Modbus. To set up the tag, click on the Configuration button over here. A dialog box will appear with a chart, and in the bottom left corner, we'll click the Modbus option. For the register type, we'll select holding registers because that's what we set up earlier in the video. and for the register address, type in 2, and we'll leave the block size at 0 because we only want one register. Next, you can click on the Scale button over here. A dialog box will appear with a chart. For this demonstration, we'll leave the first row as 0 equals 0, but we'll change the second row to 10 equals 10. You can also scale it. For example, we can write 4095 as if it's a raw value, and then keep the tag value as 10. The trigger is used for MQTT. For example, if the unit is PSI and it changed at 0.1, then it would send out and trigger that alarm and publish it to the broker. If you scroll down, you will see the active values section. The active value for this pressure is 3. Most of the next columns aren't really used for pressure, but if you're using a discrete, then you would see the number of cycles, for example, number of pump starts. You would also see the frequency if it's a digital input or something like that. And that's basically how to pull Modbus R2 or Modbus TCP, set up the serial ports under settings, set up the polling record in the Modbus tab, and use them as tags and alarms. You can also use them as triggers and actions if you'd like to totalize flows or something like that. You can also come over here to Reports. In the Custom Reports tab, click on the Add Custom Report button. For this example, we'll call it Pressure Report because our tag from earlier was called Pressure. Next, click on the Configuration button to configure the report. We'll select the Tag Min-Max Average option. For the tags, we'll type in the name of the tag we're using. This is case sensitive though, so we have to make sure that the pressure is spelled the same way as on the tag. You can type in more than one tag if you'd like, for example, flow. In the Start Day row, we want to select the daily or monthly. For the monthly option, on each day, it will give you the min-max average. For the daily option, we'll choose the 5-minute intervals option for the time resolution, but you can choose any option that works for you. We'll start at this time, and then in the email contact row, we'll put the contact from the phone book that you want to send the report to. To summarize all these settings, a daily report regarding the pressures in a CSV file will be sent to the email address of the people in the phone book, and it will be recorded every 5 minutes. Thank you for watching this video about serial ports. For more helpful tutorials and videos related to Rionix's SCADADroid, please click on support videos on our website.